But one of the things that we try to do, again, we steer away from the tenants and toilets. There is a separate meeting for the housing association, which is going to be, the next one is going to be next Thursday morning, same place, same time. I think, was that, who does that? Is that Pat, or is that?
That one's Pat. Yeah. Pat.
Okay.
Pat and Bob.
Pat and Bob, yeah, Pat Gallagher and Bob Napier. So if you have any questions regarding housing for tenants, landlording, that is the place to check out. And also, we also have a general meeting, which is going to be happening next Thursday night. Starts at, networking starts at 6:45, meeting starts at 7. And that is going to be, and I apologize, what was the subject on that one?
That one is, we got Jamie Kane and Deb Pusater from Under One Roof, and a bunch of local investors and property managers that are starting the Under One Roof Rochester chapter.
That is going to be, actually, I can't wait to get on that, actually, because they're going to be going over everything that's happening here in New York State, which is, I don't care if you're not a landlord, I don't care if you're a flipper, a wholesaler, everything on that meeting is going to affect all of us. Okay. So definitely see about getting on that. Another thing that I like to tell people, don't take what we say as gospel. Always consult your attorney and consult your accountant, because what may work for one of us may not work for some of you. Okay. So always consult whoever you need to, because remember, it's your money. Okay. If you want me to spend your money, no problem, but it's still your money. Okay. Another thing too, and by the way, I don't know if Leon, if you had to go over anything, or Joe, or before we get started here, because I know I didn't get a chance to ask you guys before we got started.
No, I didn't have anything to talk about or to go over other than the pieces that have been mentioned already. So I think we're good to go. I guess, you know, you're running the session, but if I could provide one piece of input today, it would be some new faces, as you sort of indicated here. Be nice to hear what they need, what they want, and what is it that we can do to help them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I was going to do that, but might as well do that now. I don't know. I know there's a gentleman named Terrence, I think, that was new on here.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm basically just looking for which route I want to take, you know, so I was told maybe if I listen to you guys and see what you guys are doing, see if I was interested in that, or see if I wanted to take my own route.
Okay.
So this is my first meeting, and I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say.
Perfect. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And I know Lou Ellen, this is her first. I talked to Lou Ellen a few times, but I know some other people joined afterwards. Lou Ellen, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Good morning, everyone. My name's Llewellyn. I live out in Wayne County. I've been in the real estate for about 5 years now. I have 12 rental units, looking to get more. I've also done a few flips. I'm working on one right now in Williamson, and just trying to gain more knowledge and meet some like-minded people to help me out on my journey. The one thing that I need to know more about private money lending. You know, I don't want to keep sinking my own money into everything. And I'd like to find a private money lender or know how to go about that. Okay. And interest in, you know, more knowledge on how people are marketing and finding deals, etc. So everything in general. would be great. And just getting to know you guys, just talking to Joe, the few times I've talked to him, he's been extremely helpful for me. So looking to, gain more knowledge.
Yeah, Joe operates that way. He's really great at helping folks. One of the things that you said, Llewellyn, I don't think we've ever met before. So I'm Leon Griggs, and I live on the same side of this. Well, we're in two separate counties, but we're very close to each other. So I live in Webster, and I'll be more than happy to meet with you sometime and just talk about some of the things that you want to do and want to get accomplished. So you mentioned private lending, just to make sure that, well, just to interject, there's some videos that Andy McQuaid has put up that's on the site, and you can go to those areas and take a look at some of the things there. But be more than willing to have coffee with you sometime and maybe talk through some of the things that you've mentioned so far.
Wonderful. I'd love that, Leon. That'd be great.
Llewellyn,
Take a look for those videos.
yeah, they're on the website behind the paywall though, so you have to be a member, you have to be logged in. But it's on the meeting recording. Private lending was January of this year, and it was pretty in depth, and we got very, very good feedback on that meeting. So there was a lot of topics discussed, from how to do it and be a money lender yourself, to how to use other people's money, to different strategies that have been done. It's one of the best meeting recordings we've got up, actually. It's one of the most heavily trafficked. So it's definitely a win. And I did see Scott Spear is with us, and I also see John Brady is here for his first meeting. And John is one of our vendor members. I didn't know if he had anything to throw at us. This is his first alternatives meeting, I believe.
Hey, Andy. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'll be real brief. I'm an insurance broker in Rochester with Brown & Brown Insurance. I've been in the industry 27 years, broker for the last 4 years. And the reason why I'm here is because I learned when I first got started through a friend that has a property management company how to help owners avoid waste in their insurance premiums. And there's in that same process, actually improve coverage and with the building, and also with increasing their liability coverage. And at the same time, it just all comes together and leads to more net income for you, which is why you're making this career choice. And I can help you improve your net income really just by looking at your program and avoiding waste, but not giving up important coverage. So I'm here as a resource for you. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
And I think you said there was one more new person, Andy.
Well, I don't know if Scott Spear is new, but he is in the room.
Oh, no, I didn't know if that. Yeah. I was going to actually introduce Scott. So everybody knows Scott Spear. I know. I think he's in Florida. He's actually your co-host here. Scott, are you there?
His camera's on, but he's muted.
Oh boy.
He's got to figure it out. He's probably on that new fancy schmancy tablet of his. And we probably do have other new people. I see some names on here I don't necessarily
Yeah.
recognize.
If you're new, while Scott's trying to figure out his new computer, feel free to introduce yourself real quick here. Anybody else?
So, Dom, you've been to a few meetings, but I know I've talked to you a couple of times. Now would be a great time if you had questions for this group, or just how you might go down some of the paths that we've talked about to allow you to be successful as a real estate investor. So when I'm speaking, my words are not gospel. These guys right here are really great at what they do, and they provide input freely and openly to folks who are part of our organization.
Yeah, so hello everyone, I'm Dom. I've been a member since about January. I've spoken to both Joes on here, Joe McGuire and Joe LaBarbera and Leon. I've spoke to many people on here, still looking for my first deal. I've gotten a lot of great insight from both Joe's and Leon and everything from this group. So, I mean, I'm just still looking for my first deal, single family home or a multi in Rochester. I potentially have something in the 19th ward, potentially. So I'm working on that right now. And, but other than that, I just like coming to the meetings, networking, meeting new people, and learning from the pros.
Perfect. Well, glad to have you here, Don. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
My name's Clark Peacock, and I saw a post from Scott Spear, and that's why I showed up. And the word alternative really caught my eye. So I'm here to learn.
Perfect. Perfect. Scott. Do you have any real estate right now?
I do not. I do not. I've had rental properties in the past, and right now we're just trying to figure out exactly which way is the best way for us to go, and looking at industrial type properties as well as self-storage and possibly local flips. I live in La Plata, Maryland.
Where you live where?
La Plata, Maryland.
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect.
It's
Well,
funny,
Scott,
the things you see on the internet, you just show up, right? Who knows where you are?
that's why it's the computers. As crazy as technology is and how bad I am with it, it still amazes all of us that it doesn't matter where you're at. You know, you can get information, especially hooking up with Scott Spear, who is a plethora of information, especially when it comes to what you're looking for. Oh, welcome.
Thank you. And a hell of a nice guy too. Don't forget that part.
He is. That we could definitely testify to.
Well, I mean, he does put up with all of us and all of us making fun of him for not being able to connect to the meeting correctly. So there is that.
He makes up.
All right, I'm on now.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, sorry everybody, I'm on now. So we're connected, and a little bit of connection issue and then a battery issue, but we're good now. So mobile life.
Welcome, buddy.
Where are you calling in from, Scott?
Sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Oh man. Well, there you go.
Not too bad. Not
Yeah.
too bad today.
What he hasn't mentioned is that he sold off his house, all of his rentals, all of his personal belongings, bought a mobile home, and is living the dream life that he's wanted to do for the last 10 years with his wife, traveling around the country, visiting their kids and grandkids off of his real estate investing success.
Yeah.
So,
and now has storage units.
Yeah, couple storage units, and yep. So it's a pretty good life. It's a big adjustment, but it's fun, and a lot of it has to do with all you guys on here. All of us helping each other has been the key to this thing. So, and I hope to get more people out here with us traveling around.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Scott, I don't know how much you've heard. We had a bunch of new people introduce themselves, so I didn't know if actually I was going to do some have and wants.
Good.
Yeah. For some of the new people on here, real quick, what we do is what's called haves and wants. So let us know what you're looking for, because on this call right now are people who do hard money lending. There are people who do wholesaling. There are people who are looking for flips. There are people who are looking for buy and holds. So put it out there. I mean, for me, I look for flips. I do commercial, residential. I'm also looking for bigger projects, whether it be apartment buildings, complexes, and all the way down to single family houses. So if you ever find anything, keep me in mind. Anyone else have anything else that they're looking to buy and or sell right now? Put it out there.
Sure. I'm looking to buy single family value add buy and hold or single family flip opportunities. More so in the 615 area, Maplewood, like North Maplewood. something that's, you know, in a sellable area right now, I guess.
Anybody else?
Looking for buy and holds, my first property. Or even potentially take on a flip. I'd like to get on any wholesalers list. You know, I'd like to contact more hard money lenders. You know, get in touch with them and just continue to soak up more knowledge.
And by the way, there's a chat button on the screen. So if you want to, some of you may want to put your contact information on there too, and then people will actually be able to reach out to you also. Is there?
Myself, looking for self-storage units all across the country. Value add is really what I'm looking for. Willing to take on ones that are already producing, but if you're out driving around, you see one kind of looks a little run down, maybe, you know, mom and pop owned. You can tell they're looking to retire, looking to take those on, willing to bring on partners or pay people a handsome finder's fee for finding those for us. You know, if you see one and you just want to take the number and send it to me, I'll give them a call and see if we can make a deal.
Leslie, I'm looking for my first flip. I'm trying to find something not too high, maybe with an ARV of around 100. You know, just to get started. I guess maybe I need to try to get my information out to some more wholesalers to see what's out there. It's kind of slowly, I'm just slowly looking for something.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for now.
I've got, I'm not a broker, I'm not a wholesaler. I still have a bunch of apartment buildings in Boston. Anything from a 6 up all the way up to a 75 unit. I'm just taking a finder's fee. I've already sent it out to some people in this particular meeting. The owners of the portfolio are trying to assemble a package to go all out at the same time. So they've got like office space and commercial and some restaurant and retail and some medical space as well as all of these units. They're all over the Boston area. There's probably a total of about 50 buildings all in. To make it worth moving in there, we sort of packaged out 325 units, a 72 unit and a 75 unit. They're all value adds. They're all C's to B minuses right now. They're all value add opportunities. They could cash flow nicely. It's just a question of wanting to get involved out of state and going into the Northeast deeper as opposed to going south if you're looking for stuff out of the market. But I do have information on that if anybody wants to take a look at it. Right now, the 5 buildings that we were talking about are somewhere in the $40 to $60 million range. So it is not a small ask by any means, but there are some smaller things there, 10s, 12s, 8s, 13s, 6s. If you know somebody in Boston or have anything out that way already and you're interested in picking up some smaller stuff, we can definitely get you the information on that as well.
Perfect. Anybody else? Everybody has exactly what they want and need. Santa Claus came.
I'm waiting for you to give me what I need.
What?
I said, I'm waiting for you to tell me exactly what I'm looking for right now. I know you have it.
By the way, Scott, I tried calling you last night, but you didn't answer the phone. I figured you just had too much money. I got a lead on a 103 unit storage facility off market in North Carolina. But
Okay.
So I just figured, oh, he's probably drinking champagne.
Yeah, no.
So make sure let's talk after this.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. No problem. We'll actually be heading up through North Carolina sometime in the next month. So, yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Great. Yep.
I don't know if anything you wanted to go over or what you wanted to do here before we get started.
Not really, not anything I can think of.
Okay.
If you want to do breakout rooms, we can do those. Looks like we have enough people on the call. Yeah, let's, if we can, Joe and Andy, if we could do breakout rooms, maybe we'll do those and we kind of queue that up. Another thing too, this Friday is Colleen's Zoom call, right, Joe?
Yes. Yeah, March 5th. Yes.
Yeah, you want to tell everybody a little more about that since she's a vendor member, and I don't think she's on this call, but maybe we can tell people about that.
Yeah, that's for Colleen is she's a real estate agent. She's also a broker, I think, too, right?
Yeah.
And she is just doing, I mean, they did over 130 houses last year alone, I think. They know this market extremely well. And she does a call that she does every 2 weeks on Friday morning, starts at 9 a.m. And basically they'll go over a lot of different people on it. I think this week she's got Steve Peterson on there, who is also a vendor member. He's been my attorney for like 27 years. I don't know how the heck he's kept me that long, but hey, that's fantastic. But he's going to be talking about LLCs and why you need to have one and how it actually covers our butts. So if you ever have any questions, this is free advice from one of the top real estate attorneys here in Rochester area, who is extremely highly sought after. That's at 9 a.m. And Scott, how do they find it? Was it Rock? I can't remember what the.
Let me find the link and I'll post it up in the chat box.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks, man.
Perfect. And Scott, why don't you explain people what the breakout rooms are? Because some people, they have no idea.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do in a little bit is we're going to go into breakout rooms of, let's say, 3 people each. And a little screen will pop up on a little pop-up window will pop up on your screen, and it'll take you to a room. You just click on the blue box, it'll take you into a room. What we'll do is we'll spend about 15 minutes in there. And really it's for networking, more of a intimate type networking. You'll have 2 other people in the room with you. When you get in there, spend about 4 minutes each, we'll say. Introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you currently do, what you'd like to do in real estate. And the one big thing is talk about a book that you're maybe currently reading, or a book that's had a big impact on your life, either personally or professionally in real estate, and share that with the other 2 or 3 people that are in your room. So to cover again, you're going to get a little pop-up on your screen, click on the blue box, you'll go to that room. You'll be in the room with 2 to 3 other people, and you'll introduce yourself, where you're from, what you're currently doing, what you'd like to be doing in real estate, and what book you're reading now, or what book has had maybe a big impact on your life that could help other people, either personally or professionally. Everybody got that? Any questions?
And then by the way, we're going to automatically be brought right back to the screen again. So
yeah, what'll happen, there should be a countdown clock when you have about 60 seconds left. Make sure everybody gets a turn to go. And you can either automatically go back to the general meeting, we'll all come back together, and or just either automatically happen or you click on the box. Then we'll all come back to this room. And after that, we'll throw it out for questions. For everybody new, if you have questions about real estate, they can be simple questions, complicated questions, a deal that you're working on, or something that you're looking at, or anything like that. We just throw it out for general questions, and we all help each other by answering the questions. So everybody got that?
What time frame are you looking for? How long?
Let's think 15 minutes, I think will be good.
Andy, you put some items in the chat. Could you just go over that with people before they go off?
Yep, absolutely. So the link I just put is a Zoom link to Colleen's meeting tomorrow morning. It starts at 9 a.m., I believe. Yes, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Friday, and it is from 9 to 10. You just have to be careful to copy that link and not to click it now, because you'll leave this meeting and try to go there and no one will be there. So just copy the text, drop it into your calendar or someplace where you can find it tomorrow at 9.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready for the,
Hey, John, long time no see. You got to unmute yourself. When we move rooms, they automatically mute all of us.
There we go. How are you?
So I'm good, sir. I'm good. How you been?
Good, good. Looking out my 7th story window with the snow coming in from the lake. So
Oh, it's still sunny here, so it's probably heading my way.
it'll be there in about 20 minutes.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, we had the third person and they left. What's up with that? They must be confused. That's okay.
The insurance guy scares everybody away.
I don't know if I'd buy that.
Hey,
It's just a thing.
I have a there's no harm by me flipping this over to my one of my large contacts, and we've got a few of them here. So, I don't know.
Yeah, if they're interested, it's a good size portfolio. The problem is a lot of it is smaller stuff.
Yeah.
And the impression I get is that the ownership now is pipe dreaming the amount of work that needs to be done to these units to bring them up, because all of them are renting at way below market. Like stuff in downtown Boston in a 75 unit mid-rise is going for under $2,000 a month. So they need work. And there's a bunch in like Cambridge, there's a bunch in Stoneham. So it's that whole like city area, and all the little ones, I don't even know how they're making money. They've got like 10s and 12s and 16s and 19s and 15s. I'm like, how do you get paid to like run around and take care of all these little 10s and 12s that you should have sold 15, 20 years ago? So,
Well, the other thing too is the benefit of sending these over to our customers is, even if they're not interested, they know people that
might be
are in their network. So probably
Yeah.
the best benefit.
yeah, I've got to pick apart the list, because all of they actually ripped all of there was a bunch of singles and doubles up to quads on there that they pulled out. They're trying to assemble them as a like a flip package for people. So all of the bigger stuff is kind of the leftovers. They've got office and retail already taken care of, but they have all these multifamily that are just not moving. So, and I asked them for rent rolls, and it's been over a week and I don't have rent rolls yet. So it tells me things are not going well for them.
How did you get connected with these guys?
It's one of my business contacts down in Maryland, actually, threw it at me because he knows I do a lot of work. He sends me stuff all the time. He sends me things for multifamily deals, whether it's development or it's existing properties and stuff like that, to try and farm out. And he and I just split the finder's fee when we get it. We can take a piece of the broker's cut. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me what you can, and I'll socialize it here with some of the guys that have control of the other accounts. I have my one big one, but like I said, I know they've got to be networked pretty good in the Northeast at least.
Cool. I appreciate it, man.
Including some of the ones that they manage only, like a Folger Pratt, for example. I know they own some of the buildings that we manage, but I'll encourage them to just, unless you tell me there's any like confidentiality.
There's a little bit of confidentiality in there, but I don't remember exactly who it is. I have the information in the email thread, so I'll just double check it and see what it says. Because there's always people that, they don't want to know. They're trying to get out of the market. So
Sure. Yeah.
But
no, it's understood.
The package itself looks pretty good. From a value add standpoint, it's like a freaking gold mine. But I don't know, rent rolls tell the tale, and they're not giving trailing 6, trailing 12 or rent rolls. So it makes me wonder just how bad it is.
Well, part of it isn't there some, belief like Boston's just a good place to be in.
Yeah.
And if you can do it right and you see that, you know that you know how to do it and you know the market, it seems like you could do pretty well long term.
Oh, I agree completely. It would be a slam dunk for most to, you know, especially the bigger ones. That's kind of why I parceled off my first offering I threw out was for 325s, a 72 and a 75, because those are the ones you can make money on. The 25s are a little bit iffy. One of them is way north of the city, but in Stoneham, but the vast majority of them are right Cambridge, downtown Boston area. So I mean, there's money to be made there for sure. But I've got all the addresses, company names. They did a nice little prospectus on 2021, so all that stuff is there. They've got photos of just the outsides of the buildings, you know, curb appeal shots, nothing crazy, nothing crazy special, but it's pretty well done. You know, the broker did a good job of trying to make it look sexy. It's just, you know, is it really sexy? I don't think it is. I guess that's reality. It's they're holding back enough information. It makes you go, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder, because we floated, guy I deal with down in Manhattan floated. He's like, I'll take the 5 if they'll do it between 40 and 50 million. And if they won't, then, you know, I'm not interested, but I'm not even going to put anything together or do any more work on it without seeing the rent rolls. I'm still waiting for rent rolls. And they were like, well, we were hoping that the downtown building with 75 would be worth 40 or 50 million. I'm going, you're charging $2,000 for a 3-bedroom. That's not happening. Not in downtown Boston. You're not going to get 50 million for that building. That says it needs a shitload of work. It's not happening.
I've got a guy that I've done work with. He's a client. When I left the old place, I had to stay away, but he's referred people over, and he's actually a client of Scott Seppin.
Yep.
His name is Hisham El Karudi. I don't know if you've ever connected with him.
I have not. No, I don't know him.
Well, he's basically a real estate guy in Manhattan, and he's got a lot of overseas investors.
Mhm.
And that's who I've actually ended up insuring, and people I've never met. They don't even live in the country, but if that's something you wanted me to connect you with, because I don't interact with him all the time now, but I mean, he's very active on LinkedIn, especially in the residential like what do you want to call it, like condo scene, especially now with stuff selling, I think at like discounts. But my point is, he's got access to like a lot of people with money and stuff like that. So I'd be happy to connect you guys.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking to expand my network into the market anyway. Like anybody anywhere doing anything with real estate, I can figure out on my own whether or not they're reputable or somebody I want to do work for. But I'm not afraid of expanding the network. I think it falls to everybody to do their due diligence on anybody they do business with. You know what I mean? It's like, you're going to spend money with somebody you don't actually know and trust. What are you, fucking crazy? But
well, yeah, and I've learned, like, it's amazing to me how, like how he works. He did his homework, and he found like the Rochester people, like the Scotts of the world, and the Dan Ranolettas of the world, and he's looking for stuff up this way. He owns stuff up this way. His relatives, he's brokered stuff for them up this way, but he lives in New York, and he's just a busy guy.
That's cool.
Probably like 30, I'm definitely a mover and a shaker, but I just made a note to hook you guys up on LinkedIn, or I'll give you his contact, and you can just reach out and say, John Brady, I'm not that proficient at LinkedIn, so you might just want to send him a note and drop my name.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm on LinkedIn every day now because I'm doing a investor suitcase challenge with Jamie Kane. I'm actually working for Boyle & Code now. I've got a contract I signed with them to do a deep dive into their marketing program, and it's because of FFREIA, because of the marketing stuff I'm doing for them and getting them organized and getting them a framework so I can step back. Boylan Code wants me to do the same thing, to set everything up and get it running, and then they can hire somebody internally to make it operate. But it's broken, severely broken. So I got my work cut out for me for the next 3 weeks until I finish this this particular part of the project. It's bad. It's bad.
I just got involved. I'm actually pretty deep into it right now. I'm not ready to go live on it, but it's very alternative way of approaching my market on LinkedIn. Something I've wanted to do. The way we do business was changing before COVID. Now it's really changing.
Mm-hmm.
77-year-old men and women aren't afraid to jump on a virtual call and do business. Buddy of mine sets up call centers all over the world for big brands, and he just closed a deal, or he's about to close a deal with the guy that owns like one of those betting websites like Barstool, or
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is, but like, somebody who needs a service center.
Yep.
He's doing this deal virtually, and I go, holy shit, man, meeting in person, really in my mid-market space, it has been the way, you do things, but it's very time consuming.
Yep.
And people have just gotten accustomed to getting comfortable with this.
Yeah.
So I love that, because what I'm doing with LinkedIn is going to give me a broader national reach.
Mm-hmm.
To really leverage Brown and Brown's capabilities that I'm not taking advantage of being in Rochester, New York.
Right. Well, that's what I did when I was at Depot. It was the same thing. I had national reach. So I built my portfolio, the biggest one in the country of property management, from Rochester. But I was flying to Texas. I was flying to North Carolina, flying to South Carolina, flying to Michigan.
Yeah.
You go where the business is. And things are different then.
Right. And I'm just building out my niching and my messaging right now. And I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to share with you too, just as a recent live example, just to kind of keep what I'm doing in front of everybody, is I just wrote a nice account where, again, I run into the same situation almost every time. And it's whenever I go up against a broker that's particularly small, they're spreading their, they're small, so they have like multiple carriers that they have to keep happy. And if they don't, they lose their appointment.
Yep.
And so the problem with that approach is that the client loses in that scenario, because they run up against inconsistencies in coverage and price, and they're not getting the benefit of bulk buying. And so I just wrote a portfolio and saved the guy about it was about 10%, so about $3,000, quadrupled his liability, brought consistency to his coverage forms on the building itself. It was like basic or broad, basic, broad. Now it's all broad, and then got a consistent deductible and increased the building value. So all of that with savings. So I'm just trying to keep that message in front of everybody that, as far as like net income is concerned, it's not really about more unit. It's partly obviously about more units, higher rent, driving your revenue, but you got to look at the insurance side of things, because it's just, like I said, saving 8% is, I wouldn't say this in front of the group, but saving 8% is easy.
Yeah, no, you're
easy.
Dude, that's what I do. I mean, I walked into that complex in Erie, and I got to get you an intro to Peter. He's not real popular in Rochester because he got in some trouble with the media a while back, because all of his employees quit and his buildings went to shit and he got in trouble. But
Is he from Rochester?
He is, yeah, Peter Hungerford.
Okay.
He grew up in Syracuse near me. We went to competing high schools. Didn't know him then. We played baseball against each other. We probably didn't actually know that we did, but
I know the name now that you mention it.
But yeah, he's not a popular guy, but he's got a 725 unit complex in Erie. I did a study for him and just threw some numbers at him, and it was legitimately, he's paying $330,000 a year just in water and sewer, and I found him $85,000 a year in cuts that he could have made just off that one line item. And when you're talking to property managers, you can tell them, if I add $1 back to your bottom line, it's like $325 in new revenue, because that's the number it works out to be for most property managers, is $3.25. So you cut his budget by $85,000. You just put how much money to his top line. basically,
Yeah.
without having to expand the operations or raise rent. Because nobody realizes that impact of putting the money down here, because nothing gets subtracted. It just goes down here.
Yep.
So
Amazing. That's awesome.
it's a good selling point for sure. But
Yeah.
they have I got to get you an intro to Peter, and I got to get you an intro to looks like we're out of time.
Okay.
But I got to get you an intro to a couple of other people.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy.
Send me that stuff and I'll see what I can dig up for you.
All right. Well, it looks like we got another minute. He gave it
Oh, okay.
a 60-second clock to shut the breakout rooms down. So, which is good. But yeah, I'll send you the portfolio, and then I'll get you an intro to Peter. And you're already working with Scott. Have you talked to Pat Gallagher yet? Did you ever reach out to him?
I didn't. I think I did like a couple of years ago, but I haven't. I just, I didn't want to be the like obnoxious, like, I kind of let everybody get settled in, but I mean,
Right.
I intended to.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I just wanted to check because they're on vacation this week anyway. They're in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So they're not going to be back until I don't know if they come back on Sunday or if they come back on like Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure, but
I think I was actually looking for an email for him, and I was for some reason having a hard time finding one.
yeah, he doesn't really have one published. It's give everybody a chance to come back into the room. Looks like we're down to 18 right now. I don't know if we lost people during the breakout rooms or not.
What did I just do here? Here we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. You're good to go, Joe.
Perfect. I don't know. Everybody back?
I believe so.
We just see your forehead, Joe.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure this thing out. I hate computers. I should say they hate me. Oh man. So funny. Hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, David there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Everybody back? Scott back?
I'm back.
There we go. Yeah. Hopefully those breakout rooms were good for everybody. I like them because they're very intimate settings. You can actually get in a little bit more detail with people.
I liked it. It was very good, Joe.
Perfect. Good.
Great.
Did anybody have anything that they wanted to expand on or any questions from the breakout rooms that you didn't get a chance to get answered or talk about?
Andy, I did see somebody post in the chat. Could you put up that Zoom link again for Colleen's thing? It looks like it fell off the chat when we went into the breakout rooms.
Yeah, it's still there.
Is it okay?
People might be bugged, but I'll put it up again. Some people can probably see it and others can't, so I'm just going to copy it and paste it.
That'll work.
Yeah, I'll admit, because depends which device I go in on. When we go into a chat room and come back, or into a breakout room and come back, the chats disappear. But on other devices, I might be on might come back, the chat's still there. So I'm not sure what that is. Must be a software thing in Zoom or something.
So Scott,
Thanks, Andy.
I don't know if before you got on, some of the people were a few people asking about lending and lenders. And I know you and Joe, obviously, are definitely that's your areas there. And I didn't know if some of the people wanted to ask their questions that they wanted to get answered in regards to lending. I think Llewellyn was one of them and a few other people. But I don't know if they want actually, well, before we get in, I don't know if anyone has any other questions that they want to go over also. So feel free, this is open forum.
This is the easier way. Just so everybody knows, I just put a different link up in the chat. This one's way easier to type in and remember. This is Colleen's Facebook, and the very first post on the Facebook is the sign up to get on that Zoom meeting tomorrow. So way easier just to go to Facebook and click through to get to them.
Perfect. Thanks, Andy.
Do we have a contact list of people that are on here? Like email or phone numbers or anything?
We do
So
have it
that
on
we
the
could-
website. So there's a list of members on the website, and there's a list of vendors on the website. We're still working on getting the member list cleaned up because it's an opt-in to have people able to find you, not an opt-out. So there's members that have been members for 10 years that don't show up in the list because they never opted in to being published. It's a little frustrating, but we're working on getting that fixed.
Okay, so I don't know if I put any of my information in there, but I'll go and look when we get done.
Perfect. Did anybody want to, I know some people had some questions about lending. You've got some hard money lenders here and people who do lending co-op here right now here with us. So feel free to ask whatever question you wanted to ask.
What is the process for hard money lending and how do you go about it?
Joe McGuire, if you don't mind, I'll let you start answering that question. I'm just gonna run and get a drink of water, and then I'll let Joe answer, and then I'll come back, give my input on it.
I'm Perignon. The way I like to do it, or what I prefer, is someone talk to me first. I'm more of a private lender, and so it's relationship has a lot to do with it. I mean, you know, it can happen without a relationship, but it's harder. And the more transactions we do, the better the relationship is and the easier it is. But I like to, you know, talk about it. What do you want to do? What's the deal? What, and it's just a conversation, really. And everybody has their own criteria. Every lender has things. Scott does transactions that I won't do, and I do ones that he won't do. Everybody has something different that they like or are willing to do. And I don't want to speak for Scott. I think he likes to stay in the county, and I go out of the county. I go out of the state. So, you know, was that answering any of your questions or not?
Yeah, that helped answer a few questions that I had. So it's more of a personal transaction rather than like a bank transaction.
Well, it's definitely not a bank transaction. You know, it's personal, but it's also comes down to the property again. Also, I mean, it has to be the transaction has to work. You know, I've a lot of transactions come across that I don't believe are going to work, or they're too thin. And so you know, those I don't do. I mean, I had one, this person called and, oh my goodness, but it was I wouldn't touch this deal. I mean, I don't know why your person wants to buy it. Well, I can understand why they want to buy it. You know, it's easy for them, but I would not get involved in that to save my life. But it was just way too risky, and environmental concerns, and no money in it, and it was a lot of hopes and dreams. And what I look for is I look for things that are solid.
Understandable. Are you in Rochester?
Yes, yeah. I'm in Rochester. I'm in West Irondequoit. The email, I believe, is on the website, but if not, I can put it in the chat here for you. But yeah, email, I know I've talked to a number of people on here, and you know, an email's a good way to start, and then we just have a conversation. I generally do go look at the property. But you know, that's it really. And it depends on what you're doing. I know one I did, I mean, the property was interesting property, that's for sure, but it worked out very well for everybody. And others, I've had one, let's see, a little while ago, I looked at one actually out of the county, and I was willing to do the property. The property itself I would do, but the borrower, I got more and more uncomfortable with the borrower. So I just said, no, I'm not going to do it.
All right.
Yeah, I myself, I've done some money lending in the past, and I've scaled way back on that since I'm doing more self-storage now. But you know, as far as money lending, you know, much like Joe, we kind of talk with the person, see what their experience is. In a lot of cases, you know, some people need money to buy the property, but they have money to rehab it themselves. Some people need the money to buy and to rehab it. And then we look at the property too. The last thing we want to do, honestly, is take a property back. And I'm sure Joe will vouch for that. I never had to, and I never want to foreclose on somebody and take a property back. I'd rather see them succeed and go through the process, borrow my money, and then pay me back, you know, within a year typically is what we're looking at on our loans. Most, I'm going to say hard money or private money lenders are somewhere between 10 and 16%, with a couple points. You know, they want a couple points for like the management fee or something like that. What the points are is like, let's say it's $100,000 loan. They want, you know, 2,000 if it's 2 points for like the management fee. And some lenders want monthly interest payments only. Some lenders want interest and principal payments, and some lenders will do everything at the end. They'll just say, pay me principal and interest, you know, when you pay off the loan. And I'll be back in Rochester. I'm not sure when. I think in May, maybe timeframe. And I like to view the property too myself. Right now, one of the reasons I scaled back on my lending is, and we all see it, what the houses are going for right now are just crazy. It's harder to find a deal. I know rehabbers are buying things on thinner margins than they were just a year ago, but they're making them work because they're able to turn them around so fast. But that's how we do it. And the biggest thing is just ask. You'll be surprised how many friends and family have money in the bank earning maybe a 0.5% interest and be like, hey, you know, if you want to lend me money, I'll pay you 8%, 10%, 12%, and it's secured by a property. You know, you're listed as a mortgage holder on a property, the lender is, and then they're listed on with the insurance company too. So if something happens to the house, God forbid it burns down or something like that, they actually would get paid first on it. So, but, yeah, you'd be surprised when you start asking around. You know, some people have money just sitting in the bank, like I said, earn a 0.5% interest, and they'd like to earn, you know, 8, 10, 12% interest on their money instead. So don't know if that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Good information, Scott. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else on here would like to speak up? I know there's a couple other money lenders on here. If they'd like to speak up and talk about how they do it or their experience, and or maybe investors who borrowed money a number of times from private lenders, you know, what they've experienced. Who else would like to talk?
Don't everyone speak up at once.
Shy people are on today.
Morning.
Oh, actually, Scott, I got something having to do with lending. I've had a few people call me up and they were looking at, to borrow money on some deals. And they were rentals, and they were hoping to get close to 100% financing, and they were paying just about full retail. And why don't you tell people, because I know obviously not everybody gives 100% financing. And then when I told them, some of them do 70% of what the value of the property is. Some people do 80, depending, again, like Joe was saying, depending on your relationship. What do you guys loan at? I mean, do you give 100%? Do you give 70%, 80%? What do you guys loan as far as for the value of the property?
I'll let Scott talk first. I'll give you my answer after Scott's, and it's an easy answer.
Well, I'm glad it's an easy answer for you because it's a hard answer for me. For myself, it depends. Yeah, it depends on the property. If somebody's getting something at a super deal, let's say they're picking up a $100,000 property for $60,000, and we all know it's worth $100,000. I'll loan the $60,000. If I like the property and if I feel the property is worth $100,000. If they're paying $100,000 for it and it's worth $100,000, I'm really not comfortable lending 100% financing on that property. Unless it's somebody who's maybe borrowed money from me 2 or 3 times before and has performed, somebody who has other assets. That's the thing to think about too. A lot of people don't think about, they own their own properties and they have equity in their own property. Look to get a home equity line of credit, not a home equity loan, but a home equity line of credit. If you currently own your house and you have some equity in there, that's a great way to buy investment properties. That's really how I got started. But back to that question, and there are some properties I just won't loan on because, like I said, God forbid I have to take it back. I just don't want to own that property in that neighborhood. And that's kind of the way I loan. So I hope that helps. But Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Scott. There are, I typically am not 100% finance lender. On rare occasions, I will, very rare. And that's after we've done a number of transactions and I have a comfort level. But no, I want protective equity. And as I tell people, if I was going to pay full price, if I was lending all the money people want, a lot of people want, they want the purchase price, the rehab, and the closing cost. I have done those transactions, but I don't do it for interest. I do it for an equity share. But if just a straight loan, I look for protective equity. Now, I would agree with Scott, if somebody's stealing the product, stealing's the wrong word. If somebody's getting just a super deal on a $100,000 house that I really believe is worth that he's buying for 60 is really worth 100, can sell tomorrow for 100. Yeah, that's a different issue. And some of that I have done higher loan to values on, we've blanketed other properties. I'm happy to take a loan on another property also for the equity. But yeah, I'm looking for protective equity.
If I've got a question for you guys.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just interrupt somebody?
That's all right, Joe. This is Dave. I'll
Go
talk.
ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, we've done about 6 or 7 private loans ranging from 10% interest to 12 and 2. The last one we just did, and those were all we would loan like 80% equity of the property. We just did one last month where we loaned the purchase price and the rehab cost. But the numbers were, it was a double, and the kid was buying it for 50 grand and he only needed like 30 grand for rehab on the property. So we loaned the full 80 grand, but the property's probably worth 130. So we were comfortable doing the full 100%, but that's the only one we've done 100% on. But I would agree with Scott and Joe. We don't normally do that. It just happened to be a good deal. The numbers worked really well. Plus it was 12% and 2 points. So worked even better.
Yeah, one of the other things I've done a lot of is for the rehab money. I have lent rehab money, but on a draw basis. Person did the work, there was a draw. They were reimbursed for it because the property went up in value as they did the work.
You guys answered the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, actually, I like draw loans. They make a lot of sense. They're more work, but.
Especially for people, because I mean, I did that on a house, and so we ended up getting the draws on it, but we got it for a fantastic deal, just like the one that David was talking about. And my lender gave me a draw, which was fine with me because we got basically almost all the financing. I think it was almost 100% financing on that, and we ended up making, I think it was like, I don't know, it's like $28,000 or $30,000 profit, but the numbers worked for everybody. He was very comfortable with what I bought it for, how much work it needed, and obviously the after repair value of the property. So it worked out all the way around. And then after that, because he realized that, I got to know him, he was much more comfortable in me being able to do that more than just once, because he didn't want to get into the habit of doing that for everybody.
No, you don't. And I did one. I mean, it worked out okay, but it was, I was, in retrospect, probably not the smartest move I ever did, but it was a fire. And I did draw loans on rehab. It was a small fire, but I didn't realize all the issues with coating when there was a fire. So, but it worked out. So yeah, right now I'm very hesitant if there's a fire because of code issues.
Will anyone of you guys lend on, David or Scott? Will you guys lend on fire jobs?
I'm going to say all depends on who's doing the job. If they've done fire jobs before successfully, yes. If they've never done a fire job before, I would be very hesitant to do it. Fire jobs look like great opportunities. Looks like there's all kinds of money there, but anybody I know has done a fire job, it's a lot of work, and it costs them more money than they thought. It took longer than it thought it would, and I don't want to take on a fire job. If I have to take the property back, I do not want a fire job myself. So I'd be very hesitant unless it's somebody who's done fire jobs before.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, we don't do those.
Oh.
Are those, something that's been in a fire? Is that something that people are looking for, or what can you do with those? Because I know where there's a property like that, and I'm just like, oh man, what the heck would you do with that?
I love firehouse jobs. I used to stay away from them, but we've had extremely, obviously buying them right, but we've had pretty good luck with them. They're not for everybody, so don't go start looking at fire jobs, because what Scott Spear just said is 1000% and beyond correct. It is, especially if you're a beginner, because, and Joe McGuire said it, all the codes and everything else, but if you buy it right in the right neighborhoods, you can do very, very well with them.
Hey, Joe, Shane says he's got one for you for $1.
Oh, yeah, it's probably got no walls or a roof, but
Just finish the demo and sell the land. Problem solved.
God, no kidding.
I mean, I think that's an important point. It all counts on how involved the fire was and what the damage is. So, I mean, so you gotta, like most things, you gotta be really careful about how much is being done there, because you can get in a situation where instead of it just being a fire that you think addressed one room or one area, what actually ends up happening is you have to basically demo the whole building. And so it moves the numbers very quickly to a point that is not acceptable. And so in all of the discussions, I mean, being one of those scientific numbers driven individuals, I sort of look at the numbers and sort of say, well, do the numbers work? And if the numbers work, I can tell you right now, all the people who've been talking, they will be more than happy to do deals with you if the numbers work. And so another way of saying you need to find the right deal, and the deal is the right deal if the numbers work. Most important piece from my perspective.
I think any type of burn job right now is on the ropes, because lumber pricing and material shortages are absolutely insane. Lumber right now is triple what it was in April of 2019, 3 times.
Yep.
So the average apartment, new build, it's $9,000 more per apartment going into a building than it's supposed to be. And new construction homes, it's almost 25 grand for the average build out in additional fees just to cover the lumber package. Stay away from it.
Yep.
Wow.
If you have a fire deal, I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. I'm doing one right now. I've done them in the past, but it breaks down to the numbers, and Andy's right on with his comments. One of the things that you want to make sure that you do is that you have that change in price in the numbers. Otherwise, you're not really doing that analysis correctly. And if you started a project and got hit in the middle of the COVID thing, then the numbers definitely got skewed with all the prices that are associated with materials. The other piece is just the amount of time. Things that took like 2 weeks to get now take 2 months to get the material. It could be siding, it could be a number of things. It's just really, really impacted negatively.
Yeah. We picked up one where we got it, we knew, just like you were talking about, Leon, and Andy, about the, first of all, how long it's going to take to get the materials and the prices. And the price we're buying it for, if the market dropped right now, we would be into it at a price where it would work even as a rental. So anything that's going to be 6 months out, 7 months out, I don't like to hold something that long. But I know if it's going to take something to that point, I'm figuring, typically you're 5-6 months out anyways for any flip, between buying it, fixing it, selling it, and then going to closing. I'm going to make sure if we have to hold it, we're going to be just fine. So, so some of the people I think they're taking some chances because they are buying them too high. And, if the market drops or who knows what, or, if the market drops and the lumber prices stay the same, you're going to be in trouble. So, the one that we started, I'm not worried about it, because we'll either make $1,100-$1,200 a month in rental income, or we'll end up selling it for an unbelievably great price, which I'm like really excited about. At the same time, I can sleep at night. Okay. That's what I want to make sure of, especially, and a lot of people too, not everybody here has multiple properties. Some of the people have multiple properties and you don't want to get caught in that situation. When you have one, it's bad enough. Imagine if you had 3 or 4 or 5 going on and you're like, oh my God, you start freaking out. I don't want to be doing that. So if you're buying a property, just buy it just in case if you have to hold on to it. Again, that's for me. That may not work for you. So I don't know if anyone else has any comments on that.
Well, I mean, I'll comment on the part that you just went over and just say it in a little bit different way. Clearly, right on mark. I mean, what Joe said, and if you were reading in the books or the rags someplace, listening to some podcasts or whatever, what Joe just outlined was multiple exit strategies. You need to, particularly if you're going to take something to like a private lender, and you go to the private lender and you say, okay, I have this property, here are the numbers, and the numbers are great. And then at the same time you say, I have 3 exits. Either one of those work. That the private lender is going to say, okay, assuming that they feel really comfortable with you, then they're gonna say, okay, this is a deal that I'm fairly comfortable with. Joe and Scott, you agree with that?
Yeah, I will. I like, like you guys had said, somebody who has multiple exit strategies. Hey, if it doesn't sell, I can rent it out. It'll support the private lending or refinance. Or I can always just take it and sell it. If this project I can't take on, I can just take it and sell it to somebody else and make some money too. So yeah, having multiple exit strategies, good point, Leon. They have that's really good.
Yeah, I partially agree with that. The of the things I look at, the property, the person, and the exit is also the backup exit. So backup exit. But again, I would go along with something someone else, I don't know if Scott said, but somebody who has a lot of experience with it. We're talking fires, a lot of experience, but because somebody, for me, everybody does things differently. For me, if it's the first deal somebody's doing with a fire, I honestly don't care if he's got 20 exits. A good sized fire. I'm not talking a candle burning, but your experience with it at that point.
By the way, does anybody have any questions? Everybody's good? I've got something that by the way, besides what we were just talking about, before I get into what I have an example I wanted to go over. Does anyone have anything else that they want to talk about or a deal that they're looking at or something that they may have a question on? Please feel free to put it out there.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys. I spoke to Joe briefly earlier. My name is Dusty, new to real estate investing. By the way, can everybody hear me just fine?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a deal or a potential opportunity that I have some questions about. It involves a property where the original owner had passed away. It was willed to a descendant, and that person subsequently passed away. And the property has been vacant for over a year at the very least. I've done my research and I've discovered that the property was in fact charged off by the bank, and the property is behind on its taxes. So this opportunity came about because we live next door to the mayor of this community. And it was explained to me that the descendant that would now be the heir to this property has no interest in acquiring it. So it's just kind of in limbo, and it's in a really hot market. and I'm not really sure how to go about acquiring it, but it's been in the corner of my mind for a long time now. And I'm trying to figure out how to go about it. I've thought about reaching out to a probate attorney. And to further expand on this whole opportunity, I should mention that my father and I, we've been involved in, we have our own small construction company. So the property seems to need a little work, but I'm under the impression it doesn't need to be completely rehabilitated. And so it definitely seems like a really desirable opportunity given my limited information. So anyway, I was just wondering, like, given this information, if anybody might have some advice they could share with me.
I think it sounds like a great opportunity, frankly,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm. Is
I'd
it
be-
located in New York State, the property?
That's correct. Yeah, it's located in central New York in a very, very desirable community.
Okay.
The one question I have is that the mayor said that the heir is not interested. How does the mayor know that?
To contact this descendant on a number of occasions, and this person does not reside here in
Right.
New York State. They actually reside, I believe it's in China, and
Okay. That's good.
there's been some dialogue there. I don't
Yeah.
exactly know what conversations have been had.
If the person is in China, it's an interesting issue because I believe you're going, well, one of two things. You're going to need a deed or you're going to need a tax sale. And you probably do not want a tax sale because then it's an auction. You really want an attorney to go through it, but I would say just have the person deed it over. If they have no interest in it, deed it over. Your only question would be the time frame on the tax sale, or on the delinquent taxes. But if you're talking to the mayor, if they don't push it, and actually with the current economic issue and the moratoriums, they're not going to be doing a tax sale anyway. So, yeah, I would pursue it that way. The probate attorney there has to be a probate for the probate attorney, and is there one?
If they're out of the country, that's my answer.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you'd have to have the decedent. What was the status of their estate? Really, the second decedent.
And I don't have, and I'm not really sure how to go about getting that information. It's
Well,
it's a little bit
what county was the decedent in?
This is Oneida County.
Okay, I would go to Oneida County, and I guess the county didn't make a big difference, but go to the probate office there and search it, see if there was anything filed.
Yep, and check with the clerk's office and see if there's been a transfer of deed recorded. Check to see if the mortgage filed a satisfaction or not, because they could say it was charged off, but if they never actually released the deed, they could still have a lien on it, and you just don't know.
I mean, another approach too, I agree with what Andy is saying and what Joe said. I mean, one approach would be to actually, instead of you're trying to do that, to actually get a title company and have the title company do that for you. And, so this is one of those things where you have to be careful because you don't want to, throw a whole bunch of money away, but by at the same token, it's not going to be that much in the way of dollars to have someone do like a preliminary title search.
Through a title
Are you in
company.
Rochester?
I'm not. I'm actually in North Carolina right now. However, we recently moved from Oneida.
Okay,
So
you might want to reach out to Steve Peterson. He's an attorney most of us use. Andy, if you want to pop his information in the chat box, Dusty, to me, I'd reach out to Steve and see. I know he's handled some probates. I know he's handled some international deals too. So if it were me, I would start with Steve and kind of explain it to Steve and say, okay, this is what I got, what would it cost me, and to what level would be next. That's my suggestion. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd reach out to Steve myself.
Yeah, I would agree. You're going to need an attorney in this deal, and I agree that you could do a preliminary title for like $60, $80, I believe. And I forget the name of the company, but I forget. If you ask me later, I can give you the name of the company. It's like $60, $80, and they do a quick search for you. The question is going to be, and Greg had also made a point that I'd forgotten, that how do you know the title is, not the title, how do you know the lien was discharged, charged off? Charged off is not the same as discharged.
So I spoke with the lender personally, and I spoke with the individual who I needed to speak with to give me this information. I can't remember this person's title.
Okay, but
I explained to them.
All right. So it was an institutional loan. You said you spoke to a person, but it was person at an institution. It was a bank loan.
That's correct. It was a person with the lending agency. Yeah. So yeah, I explained to them that I was an investor, and I had interest in acquiring the property, and they told me that they no longer had any ties to it. And I want to say the language that was used was that it was charged off, but given my ignorance here, I could be wrong. I really don't know. Once again, I'll reiterate, I'm a new investor here, so I don't probably ask all of the right questions. So
yeah, just writing it off is on their books. That's what they're doing on their financial books. The discharge is the public release of lien. So that quick title will show you if it's discharged or not. My guess is it's probably not. How long ago did that person, the second decedent, how long they, year. So you wouldn't have the statute yet. I would look at the quick title and see if that lien is still there, most likely. But the lender could discharge it also. If they've charged it off, they could discharge it.
so that's you're suggesting that I do a preliminary title check, correct? Now I'm guessing because it's preliminary, it doesn't give you all the information. Is that correct?
Correct.
I see. Okay.
And Joe, what about and Dustin, what about being able to offer that if you need help from that guy in China, offer him some money? Say, look, if I get it for a certain price, I'll make it worth your while.
I actually drafted a letter and had it translated and attempted to reach out to this person's last known location here in the United States. The letter was returned back, so I didn't make contact with this person. So I'm considering doing some skip tracing, trying to find this person, and seeing if it's possible to contact them a different way.
All right. So you're not able to get hold of the person in China. Yeah, you really do need an attorney, because somehow you have to get title. The other issue would be, as a possibility, I mean, this is just kind of thinking, how big was this institution that had has the loan? Has the lien on it?
Trying to remember. It's been about 4 months since I spoke to the institution. I honestly don't even remember the name. I have it written down in my notes, but I don't have it with me at the moment.
Well, I'm thinking if it's a large institution, they're very difficult to deal with, like a Bank of America, a Chase, a smaller one, I would try to buy the loan. If they've charged it off, buy their loan for a little bit. And now you have some control in the property.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. I really gathered the impression that when I spoke with this lender that they just the connection to the property had been severed. There was no longer a legal connection, and I don't know what that means in the real estate realm.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go back to lands. You really have to get that title to take